Dreaming of writing a children's book but not sure where to start? In today's episode, you'll discover how Shannon Anderson went from zero publishing experience to a published author. She did this using fellowships, small wins, and a powerful mindset shift just to make it happen. If you're looking for inspiration as you take your first steps as an author, this episode is for you. Welcome, everyone. Today is a very special day because we have an inside look into a real life journey of becoming a children's book author, even when you have no publishing experience or background in writing. So, in this live session from Kidlit Academy, I'm joined by the wonderful author Shannon Anderson, a former elementary school teacher who turned her lifelong dream of becoming a children's book author into a full time reality. It was a really, really great session. Shannon had so much to share, but I wanted to give you this small little sneak peek so you can hear how Shannon went from shelving books in a library as a teenager to navigating the twists and doubts and breakthroughs it finally took to get published. Plus, she shares some practical tips during this clip on finding funding opportunities, building your early writing credentials, and believing in yourself even when the path doesn't feel quite clear. If you've ever wondered how to get started as a children's book author or how to keep going, even when things seem confusing, this conversation will leave you inspired and ready to take action. So let's dive in. Well, hello, welcome officially to today's workshop. So, this is one of two live events we do every month in Kidlit Academy. And today we have the wonderful Shannon Anderson's going to be talking with us today. Shannon is going to be talking about her publishing journey, writing picture books, how she turned from teacher to author. So, it's going to be a really fun day.
So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I was an elementary teacher for 25 years, and while I was teaching, I kind of decided, I really want to do this other goal that I've always had to write children's books. When I was in high school, I was fortunate enough to have a really cool high school job. I worked at the public library in the children's book section. And so I had the whole downstairs from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night to myself, which I'm still like, I still can't believe they let a teenager take care of the whole downstairs all by myself, but the children's librarian left at 4 and I took over until 8 when they closed. And I just kind of fell in love with children's books all over again. And I loved that I could match kids with books I thought they might enjoy. I loved being surrounded by books that I used to read. And I also thought it was a great bonus that when a book would come into the library, I got to read it before anyone else could check it out. And so it was just a really cool gig to have as a high schooler. And I have always been a diary writer from when I learned how to write. I mean, like my first diary was in second grade that I had something substantial. And I still write in journals and diaries, not as frequently as I used to, but in my senior year diary, I had written that someday I wanted to be an elementary teacher and a children's book writer. So it's kind of a clear path to become a teacher. You major in elementary education and then you take the elementary education exams, you apply at elementary schools, and then hopefully you get a job, which nowadays you would get a job because they need teachers so desperately. But then you start teaching. And I didn't have a clear-cut path for becoming a children's book author, as I'm sure all of you know. There isn't a children's book author major. There isn't an exam that you take to be certified to be a children's book author, and there are no jobs you just apply for to become a children's book author. And so trying to figure that out was tricky. I mean, I honestly thought that since I wasn't an illustrator, that I couldn't do picture books, that I was only going to be limited to like chapter books and middle grade books that they would maybe hire, or it would be nonfiction, so they'd use photos and things like that. I had no clue that I could actually write picture books. And it wasn't until there was this fellowship that I applied for. So I'm telling you, look for grant opportunities, fellowship opportunities, those kinds of things that can help you be able to invest in this if this is something you really want to do. Because I felt guilty, like this is like this dream. It would be so cool to have children's books, but I felt guilty as a mom of two girls that we should be saving for college, not saving for me to chase this pipe dream, right? And so it wasn't until I found this fellowship that I applied for and I ended up getting it, and I wrote it all as a 6-week plan on how to learn how to write books for kids. And I got the fellowship. I started going to SCBWI conferences. I started taking online classes, doing webinars and things like this, and just learning anything and everything I could. I got my hands on books that teach you how to write children's books. Brooke has a great one that just came out. And so just learning anything and everything. And then eventually, once I got the hang of it, I finally wrote my first book. And prior to that, I'm sure you all know you have to send in a cover letter with your story, and what do you put on it if you have no publishing credits? Like, what do I put as my experience? So I started writing things like highlights children's magazine articles and things in Chicken Soup for the Soul. I did 4 of those. And there are all kinds of other anthology things and contests that I entered. So I'd have something to put down for my cover letter as writing experience besides teaching little writers how to write. And so that's kind of how I got started with everything.
I hope you found today's episode helpful. And if you loved getting this kind of insider advice, I'd love to personally invite you to join us inside Kidlit Academy. This is our monthly live program, and as a member, you'll get access to these types of calls twice a month where you can ask me anything about writing, publishing, getting your book out there, or you can learn directly from insider experts just like Shannon and many others who are editors, agents, and other successful authors, all here to help you get published faster. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building the children's book author career that you've been dreaming about, you can head over to journeytokidlit.com/Kidlit Academy to join us today. I can't wait to see you inside.